Hey guys, new arena just dropped and we are on to anti-air DPS. So I'm going to be showing you guys the most meta teams. And also, I need to rant about how terrible this freaking arena is. Not because of it functionally being bad, because of a lot of fundamental issues that arena has had for a very long time and how to fix them. I recommend you guys watch that latter half. But for the first half, I'm going to be showing you guys the teams that you can use. Two different teams, because you have to have two different teams. I'll explain that in a second, and how to gear them and everything related to that. I will not be covering Praetus Ingrid teams because they are not very good. This is a Piercer arena, which is great. Praetus and Ingrid should not be meta in anti-air, which is amazing that they removed that. The way that arena is working right now, which is a big problem and it pisses me off that it is this way, is you have to have two offensive teams. You have to have two completely different teams in order to even semi-function, and it just depends on what teams you are facing. There are two main teams that you're going to be fighting. The teams that have Yuri or Lady Alexandra, and the teams that do not have Yuri or Lady Alexandra. That is the two main things. And each team has a different team you must make to beat it, which is really freaking annoying. So, depending on what team you're fighting, you're going to have to take out a unit, put out a new unit, and that means that half of the teams you face, you cannot use your auto for, which is annoying. And the reason why this is the case is because the timings change so freaking drastically by how fast you can beat each wave, how fast your opponent beats each wave, to the point where you have to completely restructure. And it is annoying. It's a fundamental issue with arena, and it has been this issue for a while. But let's just get into the team that you will use and the variations, starting with fighting a non-Yuri Lady Alex team. This is the team that I will be using. Now, before you say this is very whale heavy, there are quite a few variations. And fundamentally, arena as a whole, in any single game you will ever play, it's going to depend on your heroes, how good your heroes are, how good your awakenings are, and how good your gear is. This is a PvP mode, player versus player. It depends wholly on how much better you are than your opponents. Doesn't matter with timings, yes, but at some level, people are going to have the same timings, the same strategy, or equal strategy. So you have to have good stuff. So while I am showing you guys a very whale heavy thing, it is not needed. There are a lot of substitutions for this, including this slot where I'm using Ymrit. I know a lot of people don't have Ymrit. This is the most replaceable slot. You could replace this with literally freaking anything, which I'll get to in a second. But first of all, we start with the Legendary Lord. You have to have a Legendary Lord. Like I said, you can go without, but you will probably not make it out of Plat 3. That's just how it is, right? You could use either Araka or Yovar for this. Yovar is better because he does better as a unit. Araka is technically a better Lord, but it's not going to make a big difference. We will be using Yovar. Awakenings do not matter for Yovar. He's not really going to be placed down much, but my Yovar on this account, this is Praetos, my alt, is going to be a 5. Yovar is in Soulbound. We want to have him in, obviously, best gear we can, Rager Gen if you can, and also exclusive gear on the left, as well as exclusive artifact is his best. You could use Blightcaller's Claw, Idril's Gaze, doesn't really matter. Nyx can be used with either Infernal Roar or Soulbound. For arena, if the unit can use it, Infernal Roar is always better because it just comes into play faster. Obviously, gear is freaking strong, but you know, we want to go for stuff like this. 4-stat weapons and then a good chestplate is always better than Warlord now, almost always at least, and then exclusive artifact. I could increase it and make it better, but that'll take time, obviously. Yuri is the GOAT for this. She is freaking amazing for this. You're going to want her in Soulbound. Or like, my Soulbound's kind of crazy, but you want her in Soulbound, and Blightcaller's Claw is her best. And then also something to note, Nyx has to be a 3 for this. If you do not have a 3, you could use a Kai, for example. Kai is really good for this. Or you will just have to find another unit that works for you. I would recommend Nyx, 100%. A3 needs to be what you use. Yuri can be replaced by Lady Alexandra for this strategy. Otherwise, you need to do a completely different strategy that I'm not going to be using for this video. and you're just gonna have to make things a bit different. And then Ymir is a flex slot. You could use anything. You could use Mari, you could use Pelagios, you could use freaking I don't know, man. You could use literally anything. I recommend Ajax or Ymir because they have a very specific passive which increases your team members' damage. That's why I'm using Ymir. Ymir also hits air. You know, he has some CC, which is good, but he's not going to get placed until the last 2 rounds. He's just built in Soulbound with as much damage as I could get on him. And then Diao-chan is the single most important unit for Arena. This is not the problem with Arena, but it is still annoying that she is required, basically, to be A1. You have to have an A1 Diao-chan. The only way you can get inspiration on more than a single unit is by having her A1. You could technically use like Constance or Dolores, but Constance is too expensive. Dolores does not have the range, and A0 Diao-chan does not have the range. You want to earn Wings of Grace, as much attack as you can, either exclusive or Keen Wisdom. That is the team we're going to be using for the no Yuri opponents. The way that the no Yuri opponents work is we're using Yuri's unique range, which is incredibly strong. Here we're fighting against Alexandros. He's going to get rolled. But we're going to be using Yuri to completely dominate the right side of the arena. The way that Yuri works is her ult is pretty large, but she also will target someone that is near where an enemy died. So if she kills an enemy, she will attack about 2-3 tiles away from the enemy. It gives her almost near infinite range if you use her a certain way, and she will reach this entire side of the arena, which is amazing. Her and Alex, Lady Alex, are the only 2 units that can do that. Technically Ingrid can with her beam, but she's not very good for this arena now. We're going to place Yuri down. She's going to clear that. We're then going to place Diao-chan right here. As you can see, because of her range, she can cover this tile. This is only because of her A1. We're going to swap her immediately. Yuri will kill this. You might be thinking, why am I not Yuri ulting immediately? It is because she is more effective on this round. Here, the timings I like to use 2 basic attacks followed by an ultimate, and then she will clear this enemy and then clear this enemy. There are 2 different quirks with Yuri as well. One is as soon as her ult ends, or as soon as she kills everyone in her range, her ult will forcibly end. She's the only unit in the game to do it like this, to have a duration ultimate end early. It's really weird, but it allows her to start gaining rage really fast. And another thing is when she gets a kill, she will gain rage. Anyways, as you can see, we beat that wave so freaking fast that Alexandros is going to take a ton of damage before his Silas can even reach, which is amazing. I'm not sure why he's not ulting here, but basically, you know, we get that damage out of the way, and already he's at half HP. Most people are only going to be around 70%, but it is a big bonus. And something that really helps with this is we gain more rage from Yuri, and we gain a lot more cost because they take longer. The reason why we have to completely reorient the strategy is because the cost will not be here and the rage will not be here if you're fighting another Yuri, because you both will kill the round so early that the next round will start much faster. So that's the reason why we have to do it this way, though we're not fighting a comp like that. So we're going to place Nyx down like here immediately, and then you could basically just ult with Yuri as soon as possible. She will completely sweep through this entire wave and then start building rage for the next wave. Amazing hero. Yuri is amazing. I love that I called her out as being a meta arena champion when she came out, and that it was going to be her main use. She's amazing. I freaking love her. She is amazing. Here he's going to be a little bit behind because he's not using Nyx. Either way, doesn't really matter. We're going to place Yovar like this. He's going to help with certain single target phases. And I should have used Uriel earlier and she would have cleared those guys immediately, but I didn't. Basically, you want to use Uriel almost immediately when everyone is out on the field. You have to make sure that the people you want to die are coming out or either are out by the time she's ulting, because if you kill everyone on the screen, it'll end her ult immediately. So you have to time things a certain way. And her ult can only be triggered if someone is in her range. So you have to keep that in mind. Anyways, we're going to kill them. Alexandros did not keep up. But basically, for the final rounds, you just want to weave in your Nyx ults with Yuri ults and then your Var ults, and then you will end up killing things. That's just kind of how it goes, right? You're just going to keep cycling your ults. I'm sure I could find another better example for you, but that is the first team. That's how you do the no Yuri opponent or Alex opponent strategy. But then when you go to the next opponent, you have to take out your flex unit and you have to specifically put in one of two units. You could put Theo in, which is who I am going to be using. He's just more consistent for me. Or you have to put in Hatset. I recommend the team I'm about to show you to be your defense team because it is just simply better. And the timings that I use are not going to be perfect. I'm going to fight this opponent to show you maybe they have better timings that you could copy them instead of me, but I'm still going to explain it as we go. Basically, Theowin is there for consistency. Because we are not going to have the cost, we're not going to have the rage, we're going to need either a stall unit or a kill unit. Killing is generally better, but Theowin is just more consistent than Hatchet. We're just going to need a low cost unit to support Yuri. Okay? Theowin I have with morale. You could do mana spring, you could do damage. Either way, it doesn't really matter. And then I recommend his exclusive artifact because it allows him to put out vulnerability, which is really good when you use one of his abilities. When you use any of his slows, it's going to put that out. So that's why we're using Theowin. Hatset is there just to kill things, right? Same team, pretty much. And we're going to attack this guy. He's using Hatset instead of Nyx, so he's going to fall apart on the later rounds. Here are the timings that I use. So we're going to start with Yuri as normal. Yuri is going to do the exact same thing. We're going to do Diao Chen after. Basically, exactly the same start. Yuri is obviously on their side, so they're going to clear things pretty fast. I ended up not putting Diao Chen as early as I would have liked, so we're going to lose this round. Yuri is purely RNG based on who she targets as well. 2 hits there, trigger the ultimate. We're going to kill this at around the same speed. I'm commentating, so the timings are not going to be as tight. Now, we need something to help kill this round. Because as you notice, we're nowhere near Nyx, and we're nowhere near Yuri's ultimate. What'll happen is if you don't ult, the units will go through. And if you remember when I said that Yuri's ult is almost infinite, but you have to kill a unit near another unit to target that unit, basically, she's not going to target the guys that go through, and she can't even ult when there's no one in her range. You'll just get units going through and you'll lose, which is unfortunate. And that is why we bring Theo in. Right here, I'm going to put Theo in here. It's what worked best for me. You're going to see that he's going to put Hatset right there, which is interesting, but functionally the same thing, right? Theo in is going to slow things, or Hatset is going to kill things. And on my side, we're going to get Yuri ult pretty soon. And that's kind of the point there. Hopefully we can ult. Yes, we can. And boom, those guys die. Yuri is going to ult on this side, kill everything pretty fast. We're just going to be a bit slower with killing things. I find that Theo is, once again, more consistent, but Hatset is just better. So it depends on what you want to run, obviously. We're just going to try to get our ult as soon as possible. We might even lose here. I don't really know. Here we're going to do Yuri ult if the game would let me ult. Thank you. And then we'll see what happens. He's not using Nyx, so we do have an advantage. He's going to be using Yovar instead. We'll kind of see what happens. Also, something interesting about Yuri is she actually has defense down, which is amazing. So that helps us do extra damage. Here we're going to sweep this because, once again, they don't have Nyx. If they swap out Theo in for Nyx, they will have an easier time. But once again, you have to have A3 plus Nyx. Here, we're going to be able to slow things pretty effectively, which is great. I'm going to be using Yuri ult here. Things can start to get through, but Theowin is going to be a Chad and keep them, hanging there. Yovar is going to come out to do a little bit of extra single target damage, and we will clear this wave around the same time. This is just how you do this, right? Here, we're going to hopefully, stall things out, kill things out to the point where we can move on to the next wave. Obviously, it's just kind of how arena works. I know I sound like a broken record or I'm saying things that are obvious, but I mean, we just kill things. Nick's ult was not up, so we're going to lose that round. You could obviously adjust the timings as you want, but the very core strategy is here, right? I'm mostly just here to talk about the strats and not really the perfect timings. I recommend waiting for Heidi's video or Mango's video, two very good arena creators. Here we're going to kill that round much earlier, and we should just win off of this, because this guy is taking forever with Hatset. Never mind, we don't win off of it, but you get the idea, right? This is what you have to do to stand a chance. And I'll show you in a second why you have to do it this way, why you have to use Hatset or Theoin. And trust me, you cannot use the strategy I showed you at the beginning. But right here, we're going to win. It depends on how much damage they do, if we like fully beat them or not. We will fully beat them. And that's anti-air, right? Those are the two teams you have to do, and you have to switch it every time. My auto is the Ymrit version, so I'm not even going to save this auto, because, I mean, I have a freaking different auto, right? Here are the damage numbers. Yuri is going to do a ton of damage. Nick's going to do a ton of damage. By the way, on the first thing I showed you, you're just going to use the same timings on the final rounds. Anyways, let me talk about the problem with Arena and how to fix it while going through this. So what I'm going to do is, you see this team right here. It is exactly the same team I showed you, except with Hatset instead of Theoin. I recommend this one a little more if you want more efficiency, but if you want consistency, I think the Theoin one's better. But let me auto it with my main team, my Ymrit team, that has the timings for a non-Yuri opponent, right? And we'll see how well this goes. Spoiler alert, it won't go well at all. So, the main issue with Arena right now is essentially your winning or losing is a 50-50. Depends on what they are using, which obviously makes sense. But the fact that it can be one single unit changing your timings as a whole and making it impossible for your defense and your timings and your auto to even work is insane. And the reason why this is happening is because Arena in this game works on a time-based system. And when when you ult at a certain time, it's going to take that time, record it, and then use it in the auto at that exact time. It doesn't go wave by wave. It doesn't, make the timings work properly. Instead, it just records the time, does it on the time. And what this will do, also keep in mind, we leaked there, right? Which is crazy that we leaked immediately on second round. But anyways, let me go against one that the auto is geared for. Basically, the autos don't work because your ultimate will try to be activated, and if there's no one in their range, they won't get activated, which then causes a lot of disparity between rage, between your timings. And what will end up happening a lot of the time is your units will ult when they shouldn't be ulting. They'll waste their ult, or they'll ult late, they'll ult early, and it'll mess up your timings for the rest of the arena fight, and you will basically guaranteed lose. And this usually is a problem, but it's not the biggest issue until this anti-arena, where a single unit can mess things up. Because when I'm using my Yuri team, it beats teams with no Yuri. Because I know that they are on a shorter schedule, it gives me time to build my rage up. When I'm against another Yuri team, or a different Yuri team, or Lady Alex, obviously, then they're killing the wave so fast, I can't get that rate, right? Which is weird that that's allowed to be the way it works. But then when I fight a non-Yuri team, I lose because of the timing. And the problem here is it pisses me off every time that a single difference, that when you fight a team that is worse than you, you can actually lose because your heroes will ult late because your opponents took too long to get going. It's the difference where even in old arena, when or even this one as well, when you fought a Pope Ingrid team using a Piercer comp, sometimes you would lose because the Pope Ingrid team took so long to get started that it made your ult trigger late. And when arena takes so freaking long to do and no one enjoys it, just fundamentally, this just happens to get worse because people are not willing to manual things and the defenses are based off of autos. It's a mess, right? I hope you guys understand what I'm saying. Maybe I'm not articulating it perfectly, but basically ults trigger poorly. It's based off of time, and Moonton refuses to stop making it rely on time. Which brings me to solutions. The main thing that I will propose as a solution is actually go back to old arena. And not old arena as in what arena was a week ago. Not arena as it was, a month ago. What I propose is we go back more towards arena close to a year ago, a year and a half ago. A lot of you guys probably were not playing around that time where you would see this arena. Basically, the way that it worked is arena would function as waves, obviously, as usual. They would come out, and the first person to kill a wave would win. Their side would freeze, essentially. Their side would stop. And the other side would have every single remaining enemy, whether it's one enemy that's about to die, whether it's 10 enemies that are swarming the base. It doesn't matter. It would take them, it would kill them instantly, ending that entire round, turn them into like a ball of damage, and send it towards the portal. And then the portal would take the damage. So you would want to have an incentive of killing the waves as much as you can. Whether or not you can consistently beat it first doesn't matter, because you still want to do the damage, because it would lower the amount of damage done to your base. And you would want to win because obviously you take no damage, you deal damage to them, right? And the kicker there was the autos would almost always work. The only issues with the autos was stuff like Laurel pulling. And in this case, it would be something like Diao Chen swapping, but that is already a problem, right? That is the only problem that would really persist, because the timings would match up almost completely consistently. If you're against, let's say, a Praetus Ingra team, and they're taking forever to start, you don't lose because they took so long, because you control when the round ends. Because when you kill the round, it ends the round, and then you move on to the next one, and the timings actually line up. Because when you're going through it, it stays the same, right? That is what they need to go back to. Maybe not exactly the same as it used to be, but they need to do something similar in a way that the autos are consistent. Like, if I used my other strat, I would probably beat all of these teams. But you could see that my autos are failing because they're killing the rounds faster than the people that I set my defense on. But I still find the defense that I set this on, that this works against, that my auto beats. But it doesn't matter against the other version. And I don't want to have to manual it, save another auto, and swap back and forth. Or manual these teams taking so much longer. It's just annoying. And the thing that I proposed, a new arena, or I guess going back to the old arena, it would also make these things faster. Because instead of waiting for your opponent to kill everything, instead, the initial damage would be done, the round would be over, and you would move on to the next one, which would be so much faster. Is it a perfect system? No. Is it a better system? Yes. There's also a couple issues where I think BP needs to change a little bit. Like, when you attack, generally it goes off of the defender's BP. I think that is annoying, that is weird, and can even mess up autos as well. Because you can auto off of like a 500k person and fight someone that's at 600k. And suddenly the mobs are so tanky that your units don't do enough damage, and one will leak through. And that would be less of a problem with the system I mentioned, because it would kill the people near the base that you missed, go into them, and then you would still have a chance on the next wave. But it's still like, it's pretty annoying to have that BP sort of thing happen. So I would like to see something like maybe divisions based on the rank you are at. The BP of the soldiers coming out might be higher. So let's say for bronze, the BP for these guys would be like 20k or something. When you get to gold, it'll be like 100k. When you get to friggin' overlord, it would be like 450k. And then apex overlord would be like 550k. I think that would be a good change as well. And also, Diao Chan needs to be consistent. She's not consistent right now. Half of the team, well, not half of the teams, but quite a few teams that I fight are having their Diao Chans not switch, which is really annoying and causes them to lose. And I sympathize for them because it's out of their control, because the autos in this game can be really, really frustrating. So those are the things that I would like to see, and that they frankly need to change. So those are the two teams that I propose you guys use, or at least use as a baseline, whether you use a Hatset or a Theowin version for the team against other Yuris or Lady Alexes, or whether you use the team to stomp those that don't have Yuri or Lady Alex. I recommend doing the Yuri, Lady Alex, and then Theowin or Hatset comp for your defense, and the other one just for your, manualing your offense or whatever. It's up to you, you guys, though, obviously. But that's everything I want to talk about. Moonton, I'm gonna send this to you. I hope you watch it. Please make a change, because fundamentally, with Arena, no matter how much you change it, no matter how you bring in new maps, you change the requirements, like different factions get used, no matter how much you do things to spice Arena up, to try to fix Arena, if you don't fix these fundamental things with the autos, with the variation, with how your opponents can completely make your autos just not work, which frankly just makes it not fun, because even if you should be able to beat these guys, you have to manual everything. That's just going to ruin Arena forever. And it's been like this forever, where Arena is just a mess. New Arena, Sulkinen's Arena, where it does the constant, consistent damage, has had so many more complaints than old Arena, where the only complaint was Boreas being too strong on release. That's realistically the only complaint that was there, right? We need a change at some point to the fundamental basic how Arena works. And if you're not going to change how, certain timings work, or how it's based off of time, and you're not going to do any creative solutions, you got to think of something else. So that's everything I wanted to talk about. Sorry for all of the big yap. I think it was important to say. I hope these teams help you guys, and I hope you guys understand what I'm saying. And that's everything I want to talk about. So thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate it. And Destined signing out.